Hi, it's Donna from Polka Dot. I thought I'd take a little break from my long list of jobs I'm supposed to be getting on with today and show you a project that I'm working on for myself rather than something to sell. This is a chair that I got in a charity shop. You might have seen me post a picture on my Facebook page a little while ago, and I'm doing it up to go in my craft room. So I just thought I'd show you how I'm doing that. I'm using a technique called decoupage. Originally, when I bought the chair, I'll just turn it over and put it on this unit so you can see, hopefully. You'll see it was just a normal wooden sort of farmhouse kind of chair, but I chose it because it's got really nice shaped legs, and I found it in a charity shop for £3, so it was a bargain. So before I did the decoupage that you can see on this leg here, I've used an all-purpose primer to coat the chair, to give it a nice surface to do the decoupage on. And before I applied that, I actually sanded the chair down a little bit to give it a bit of a key and to get rid of the old varnish. So you need to sand down the object first, paint on a couple of coats of primer, and then you're ready to do the decoupage. Decoupage is basically tearing up bits of paper and gluing it onto a surface to decorate it. And you can use special decoupage paper, which is like this pattern here, the fish pattern, and I bought that I think in Hobbycraft. And to be honest, the rest of it I've used pattern tissue paper, which was a lot cheaper, which was my main reason for using it, to be honest, because I was trying to do this on a bit of a budget, didn't want to spend a fortune, and the decoupage paper is essentially tissue paper. It's slightly thicker, but it's also a lot more expensive. I'm finding the tissue paper is working pretty well. It does wrinkle slightly more, so if you doing something where you want to get a really perfect finish, you might want to spend the extra and use the decoupage paper. But for trying out a project or something like this, where essentially, although it's going to be decorative, it's going to be used, and once it's in the room, I'm not going to be looking at every tiny detail. So I think the tissue paper will be fine. So what I've done is torn up my tissue paper into small pieces like this. It doesn't have to be regular shapes, it's just small manageable pieces, not too large, so that when you glue them onto the surface they don't wrinkle too much. The larger the piece of paper you use, the more likely it is to wrinkle as you apply it. The glue I'm using, I have actually splashed out and bought the proper decoupage glue. It's a water-based glue, and you apply it with a bristle brush like that, quite a sturdy brush. You can wash your brushes out with water afterwards, like I say, because it's water-based glue. Don't have to worry too much about getting on your clothes or anything. So it's quite a nice product to use. I think it's probably essentially a PVA kind of glue, but I wasn't sure whether it has got anything special in it that helps the technique, so I have spent the extra to get this glue. So what you do is you apply a thin amount of glue to the surface, then you lay on your sheets of paper, and as you can see I'm overlapping them. That helps to give variations in colour, because obviously where the pieces overlap it will make it a darker area. I don't know if that's picking up on the camera, but in real life it does give you a more sort of mottled and varied effect. It also sort of blends the pattern together. So this tissue paper I'm using is a pale blue with white hearts on, but to be honest, once the whole surface is covered, it kind of just gives you a bluish kind of patterned leg. It's not, you can't really see the hearts so distinctly. So you put glue onto the surface, you lay on the tissue paper or your special decoupage paper, and then you paint glue over the top. So you're sealing the paper in. Okay, and you keep doing that until you've covered the whole surface. So it's quite a relatively time consuming process, but it's the kind of thing that you can do while you're watching TV in the evening. That's what I've been doing with the rest of the chair, sort of propping the chair up on the floor on something and just working on it a little bit at a time. When the whole thing's covered and you're happy that you've got even coverage, there's no gaps, and you've got as many of the wrinkles as you can. You sort of brush the wrinkles out as you're applying the paper. Then you need to protect the surface, and for that I've bought the decoupage varnish. This one's a satin varnish, so it's going to give a slightly shiny surface but not glossy, and that's water-based again, like the glue, and you apply several coats of that. Now, as well as doing my chair, I've actually used this blue paper to decoupage the surface of my desk, and on that I've applied 4 coats of varnish, leaving time in between each coat for it to dry properly. If you were doing perhaps just a decorative item, maybe you'd get away with 2 coats, but on the chair and the desk I'm going to do 4 coats because it's an item that's going to get a lot of use, and I want to make sure that after all this work and time sticking on bits of paper that it's going to be protected. The glue dries pretty quickly, so you can work quickly on the project, and it doesn't hurt to come back. You know, you can do a little bit and then come back to it another day. You don't have to finish a whole item in one go, so it's quite, you know, a flexible craft to do. You can do a bit as and when you've got time. I'm only going to do a little bit of this now, and then I need to get back to proper work. So I just thought I'd show you what I'm up to. You can also apparently use fancy patterned serviettes to decoupage with. I've not tried that, but maybe if you've tried it and you've had some success, you could leave a comment and let me know how you got on with that. I think you separate the layers of the serviette to make it thinner. The nice thing about using the tissue paper is it is really thin. So with something like this where you've got quite a fancy shape, you can use the brush to sort of mould the tissue around the curves and the bumps and in the corners, etc. Kind of pushing the paper into where it needs to go. If you used too thick a paper, you know, an ordinary decorative paper, craft paper, that type of thing, I don't think it would work too well, because unless you were doing a very flat surface perhaps, because you just wouldn't be able to mould it in the same way. So there we go, there's my little video for today. Hope you've enjoyed it. Hope you could see fairly clearly what I was doing. I'm going to leave it there, and I'll take some photographs when the chair is all finished and in my craft room. Thanks very much for watching. Bye.